All right, we all got to release somewhere, right? We all got to release somewhere.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
All right, hold on one second. All right, we all got to release somewhere, right? We all got to release somewhere. But what do you do when an unhappy person, right? They can't take that, they can't release it out on their spouse. They can't release it out at their job. They can't release it out at church, right? What do you do when an unhappy person, they can't release in their inner circle, right? And some of the reasons they won't be able to release that is some of it could be fear. Some of it can be because, because of courage, right? There's a lot of reasons why people, we choose to release in certain areas, right? With certain people, we release that unhappiness that we have, right? But what do you do when a person, they can't release it with their spouse, they can't release it to their job, right? And they can't release it to the people that they're with at church, right? Because a spouse may not always want to receive that release, that unhappy release, right? And maybe that is a challenge for you, right? Maybe you can't release it at your job because you're fearful that, you may lose your job because you're always unhappy. Right? So, and again, at the church, you have no reason to be unhappy at church, right? Church is a place where you could actually, you're there to pick something up, right? You're there to get a message that can actually resonate inside of you. So you can't always release your unhappiness at church. So what do you do when unhappy people release it right there, right? Some of it is going to be just an attitude that they may bring across, right? One of the audio mentors that I have, Zig Ziglar, he has this whole series talking about somebody kicked this person's cat, right? And it's a chain of events, cause and effect, and it just keeps trickling down. We're talking about unhappiness, right? So what do you do, right? What do you do, right? These people, they can't release it. Their spouse, their job, and at their church. So where do people typically release their unhappiness, right? They typically release their unhappiness to strangers, right? You ever encountered a stranger that was unhappy and they just gave you an attitude for no reason, right? So strangers, they can also release it to children, right? Children, so helpless, children, right? They may release their unhappiness to the children, right? To anyone younger than them, they may release that unhappiness there, right? And they also... Happy people, you are not excluded from where unhappy people will release their energy during the course of the day. All right, so if you really want to tackle that, right, if you really want to learn how to work with people better, if you really want to understand how to connect with people, right, even when they're unhappy, right, it is imperative that I recommend that you get involved in some type of personal development, right? Whether if it's listening to some audios or if it's going down to Barnes and Nobles and picking up a book or a magazine, right? One of my favorite magazines to watch and take a look at and subscribe to is the Robb Report and Forbes magazine, right? But make sure that that's how those are some of the things. Personal development is going to help you understand unhappy people better and how to deal and cope with them. All right, my name is Billionaire Brown. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. Thank you for hitting the subscribe button. We'll be back tomorrow, but since I was asked this question here, let me throw in a little bonus as well. All right, because we don't want you to get hit with, with a curveball. All right, so another way unhappy people, we talked a lot about attitude, but unhappy people can also release that energy, and it may not be something that you can always identify. Right? It may not always be something that you can identify like, oh, snap, this person's unhappy right now. Right? It may not be one of those things, but what it also can be, and you got to be aware of this, and this is what personal development is going to help you with, right? Is that there's also, there's those moments where someone's a little off balance, or they do something that's outside of their character, or they do something that confuses you that's not according to the person that you know. All right, so also be aware of that as well. All right, so again, my name is Billionaire Brown. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. Let's get it. Peace.
Clap along